Hi, this is Professor Schneider-Heinz. We're going to talk about chapters 3 and 4 today. Chapters 3 dealing with demand and supply, and chapter 4 dealing with the extensions of demand and supply. A few things you're going to know for the exam. You're going to have to know that law of demand, distinguish between changes in demand and changes in quantity demand. We've talked about that in class, as meaning that if there's a change in quantity demanded, we stay on that same demand line. If there's a change in demand, we're going to have that shift in the demand. And we're going to those. Let's see. Okay, I'm not going to have a lot of time. We got in trouble last time because I gave you all the answers. I got a big fine. I actually almost got put in jail for it, but those time police are getting really strict. Well, they cut back on my signal strength, so I know the picture is not probably coming through real good, but we'll do the best we can. I only got a few minutes to work here, so let me see what I can help you with here. I know quiz 2, a lot of people had problems with question 4, that relative price thing. You know, the idea there is comparative, how they compare, and that price is decreased. The price is decreased for those items. So another one that they have problems with, and hopefully I can get some of these in before they cut me off. But question number 11, some people have problems with those graphs, but if you can see that at the $15 that they're talking about, if that price was going up, it would be above that equilibrium price. You're going to have less demand and more supply, so you're going to have a surplus of labor. Oh, wait a minute, I'm losing my signal. That's probably all I'm going to get. Determinants of demand are going to change, and we have a shift either positively or negatively. We want to know the law of supply. The law of supply simply states that when price goes up, we're going to supply more. Suppliers have incentives to make more. We're going to distinguish between the changes in supply and the changes in quantity supplied, just like demand. Change in quantity supplied stays on that same supply line. Change in supply, meaning one of those determinants of supply has been enacted, means that we have a shift in supply, either positive or negative. We need to understand how the interaction for the demand for and the supply of a commodity determines the market price of the commodity and the equilibrium quantity of the commodity that's produced. So how does demand and supply, how does that come together to that equilibrium point? We have that natural pull back to that equilibrium point, that pull that brings us back in line to that equilibrium point. We also need to evaluate the effects, and this is for Chapter 4, evaluate the effects of changes in demand and supply in the market and the equilibrium quantity. Anytime we have a change in the market, we have a disequilibrium. So we have to get back into a new equilibrium depending on what's happening in the market. In the short run, sometimes changes will happen that we're not sure what direction it's going to go in. In the long run, we know what's going to happen after all changes have taken place, but sometimes it's hard to explain the short runs. Explain the effects of a price ceiling. Price ceiling is that price that's set that we can't charge anymore. Government will set a price on rentals units. Once you're in that unit, they can't change that price. And explain the effects of a price floor. Price floor is that maximum, or that not the maximum, but the minimum price that we can charge. A price ceiling is the maximum price. A price floor is that minimum. So we have a minimum wage that we charge, which anytime we have a price floor, it has to be subsidized in some way. We talked about in class that the subsidies for the minimum wage, which creates unemployment, is the unemployment insurance. The worker, when they're unemployed, rather than seek a job for less than minimum wage, they're going to get a incentive to not seek a job, that unemployment that they get paid, so they can still work in the economy, they can still buy things and help the economy. We also wanted to be able to describe the various types of government-imposed quantity restrictions on markets. We know that there is some trade restrictions sometimes, the quotas, the restrictions that we put on, the tariffs, the taxes that we put on restrictions, and how those restrictions will affect the market. So those are some things that we need to know for the exam that's coming up at the midterm.